You know what's amazing about talking about the market, the dollars? I think sometimes you oversell. I don't think you have to do that. I think when you tell a story that someone can relate to, they can put the numbers together themselves. You don't have to sell that hard about the numbers. Show them the opportunity of why people want it. They're smart. They can put the numbers together and they can see it too. But always do the math. Always do the math and know how big your opportunity is. It's simple to do. But you don't have to push it hard. Your investors, they're very smart. They can do the same thing too.
I completely agree. And what if investors, a lot of investors in the region at a very early stage, they don't necessarily look at the IP unless you're working in very high-tech industries like nanotech and so on, or biotech. And there's very few of those. What would your advice to them be?
I hear this all the time. I think intellectual property, it's the details like I mentioned earlier. It doesn't have to be that technical. Just show them a point of difference. Show them why someone's going to care. Maybe you're protecting the manufacturing. Maybe you're protecting the service. Maybe you're protecting something so small. What they want to know is that if they invest in you, what do you get carved out for them? Because they have to sell you and your product too, to their stakeholders and stockholders. They need something too. So if you have the right intellectual property and you package it correctly and all the details, it's done in such a way that they can see potentially when they exit. There you go. When they exit, they have something of value. That's why it's important. And that's why everybody needs to understand that intellectual property is for everybody in this room. You need to understand it.
And it can start with something that's so small. Do you have an example of a success story that started with something so small and then mushroomed?
Well, I do. There's a gentleman that, Muhammad Ali, is from Cairo, and he's watched this process I've been teaching called product licensing, and he solved this simple problem. His daughter pulled a plug out and started to put her finger in the hole, and he said, that's a problem. So he came up with a unit, an attachment, so when you stick that plug into a socket, you turn it locks in.
Oh, wow.
It's called the power law. Now, he's taken that simple idea. It's in every major retailer in Egypt. I went down, I saw it yesterday, I was so proud. But what he has done, he has his own manufacturing facility in Cairo. He has 100 employees. He's licensed that technology all around the world. He has patents in almost every country. And he did it with some of the stuff that I've been trying to share with you today. But he also did it with good intellectual property.
That's an amazing story. And I'd add to that, how many women does Muhammad Ali employ?
Well, what's really crazy, I asked him this. He hired men at first and didn't work out, and now he's got over 80 women working for him. He threw the men out the door and has all women. And I'm really not surprised because I think they do a great job. So I'm just so proud to see someone from Egypt, right, play the biggest game in the world. And that's what's so amazing that we're talking about here. You think that you're by yourself, you think you're alone, but you are. With your creativity, you can share it with the world. You just have to learn how. And you can play the biggest game in the world. You can level the playing field by understanding intellectual property. That's how important it is, and that's what you need to learn.
That's very inspiring. It's an amazing story. There are 100 families that live off of Muhammad Ali. And Egypt is on the map internationally. It's something that's very technical, with IP. And I'd like to see more of that coming from the region. I'd like to see more of that. So, did Muhammad Ali raise funds, or did he do it with his own means?
Yes, he told me yesterday that he created this with a few $1,000s. And now he has sold millions of units just in Egypt alone. So it has worked. It's a simple idea. He's protected that simple idea with good intellectual property. He filed it here in Egypt. He's filed it now, like I said, around the world. He's licensed it around the world. So yes, you can do it, but it takes good education. It takes coming to an event like this. It takes meeting investors. It takes education. And that's why I'm really excited to be here. And I'm watching someone take a simple idea and share it around the world. I just absolutely love it.
Yeah, me too. Especially like a very small innovation that transforms everything. And saves lives. And saves lives. So do you have anything that entrepreneurs can partner with? Like, what should they start thinking of now?
I would do this. At your fingertips, because of the internet, all the information's out there. And educate yourself. Read as much as you can about it. Follow successful entrepreneurs. Come to events like this. Network. And be involved. Be part of the community. And please link up with me on LinkedIn. We have the most amazing community of like-minded entrepreneurs on LinkedIn. It's the greatest place in the world for us to connect. It's all about building relationships. It's all about working hard. It's all about education. And it's all about jumping in.
I like that. To investors, do you have anything that they should part with? Think of?
No, I think that investors, I think they're really looking for you to be successful. And they're looking for you to provide them with the tools for them to invest in you. They're not only investing in your product or your service, they're investing in you to run the company. They're investing in people. So show them that you've done your homework, show them you're curious, show them you're going to continue to educate yourself. And that's the way to attract talent. So keep on working hard, connect with everybody on LinkedIn, and go to these events. These are wonderful. Even myself, I've been doing this for so many years, I learned so much with some of the speakers here, and I'd even send that information to my group, my team back in the United States, saying, hey, you got to do this. That's why it's so important to be here.
That's great. I have another question, but it's pretty tricky. So if we had someone with influence from the Egyptian government or from a regional government that can influence IP, what would you ask them to do to help entrepreneurs and investors and innovators locally and regionally to step up their access to IP?
Well, I think it's a community. We all have to come together. We all have to have these type of conferences, and we all have to talk about it and share it. All the information is available, but you need to have a platform for discussion. And it starts with some of the universities having those discussions now. And I know there's some wonderful universities here with some great engineers and designers, and they're wondering, what do we do with this great idea I have? And I'm also here to tell you, I know a lot of creative people here are finding an idea someplace else and they're trying to bring it here, right? Because that is really smart, right? You don't have to reinvent the wheel. What you have to do is find something that works, bring it over here, but you have to ask questions because every situation is a little bit different, and that's what you're going to follow the IP on. But getting back to the big question, we all need to start talking about it, and we all need to help each other.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. To your situation, so talk to someone who's experienced.
Yeah, can I just say one thing about that? You're absolutely right. If you find a patent attorney that specializes in this field, and you need to, they know the strategy to get things through the system, right? So some of these technologies are very specialized, so you need to find that expert in that field. And you'll be surprised what you can protect and what you can do to claim ownership, right? So you're absolutely right, thank you.
Yeah. Uber is a good example of that. We always hailed cabs, we always called cabs, but they still filed patents. Why did they do that? Because it was also a strategy for them to monopolize the market. A lot of their patents were then not granted, but they got this leeway of like 2 or 3 years to stop anyone from entering. So it's like if you're looking at IP strategically, there's a lot of value that you can unlock.
Yeah, can I jump on there because I think this is really interesting. The most successful startups have filed IP early, but it wasn't because of the IP that made them successful. It was because of the raising the money of the intellectual property that helped them become successful. Who cared about the patent later? So it's a very good point that you can leverage your knowledge and get people to join you.
Exactly. Sure.
Thank you for sharing your awesome insights on IP. What is the best advice that you can give to a savvy entrepreneur where he gets his idea in the blue ocean strategy rather than the red one, and he wants to go fast? Especially the MENA region in Africa, they're very, very challenged when it comes to a structured IP lawyer officer. It's cumbersome, it takes time, and would you advise them to go into that blue ocean, non-competitive marketplace and just go and be there first, disrupt the whole thing, and then think about the IP afterwards?
That's a really good question. First of all, I don't think it's expensive. I really don't. In fact, I think it's probably one of the most affordable things you can do. So, and there's tools. There's a lot of different tools. And don't forget, trade secrets is very powerful too. So when I hear the word it's expensive, I kind of go, you don't understand how to use the intellectual property. I also believe if you go out there too fast and you haven't done anything, that's a strategy. But if you're successful, you will be copied, I can guarantee it. All right, you will be copied. So I also like being first. I like selling first, selling fast. I love that too. So I think it's a combination of both. Filing fast, being first, great customer service, understand the landscape, build relationships, protect those trade secrets. I think it's a combination. I like to look at intellectual property from a business perspective, not necessarily from a legal one, because it is about business. And it's all the time. It's not just about trying to protect something, it's about getting people to join you and having perceived ownership in the marketplace. So I think it's a combination of both.
I completely agree on that. I would add, yes, to get a patent certificate, it takes a long time. However, you are protected from the day you file your patent. So the process after filing, yes, it's time consuming, you don't care, your patent is filed. You're protected. Before filing, yes, you should spend some time on drafting and strategizing on what patents you should get to make sure this blue ocean remains a blue ocean. But it's not as much time as you think it is. Did we answer your question? Anyone else? Yep.
Thank you. How I get your book? Your book.
Pardon me?
Your book.
Yes. How do you get?
How can you get your book? Yes.
The book I recommend, I've written a few. One simple idea. I wrote that from McGraw-Hill. And you can, I think you can find it just about everywhere. It's been translated in 5 different languages. It's actually being used as a textbook in some universities. One simple idea explains the process of product licensing. I also have a YouTube channel called inventRight TV with over 950 videos. You can find me there. So the information I'm trying to provide everyone here, I write about it for Forbes, Inc. and Entrepreneur. So you can find the information. Everything's available if you just search for it. So please do your homework, find it, read, understand it. And like I said, link up with me on LinkedIn and we'll connect and be part of the whole wave of innovation. It's very important. I need everybody out there to participate, to jump in, and let's have a blast.
Thank you so much, Steve. I really appreciate your time. It was enjoyable for me. I hope you enjoyed it too.
I absolutely had a wonderful time. I want to thank everybody for coming, and hopefully I'll see you next year.
Yeah, sounds great. Enjoy Alexandria.
Thank
Have a
you
safe
so
flight.
much, everybody. Thank you. All right, you guys, take a family.